with the new iRacing Tempest rating system, I thought it would be a great idea to use my real life experience and teach you guys how to drive in the rain and race and iRacing. For my first opinions, it is, I mean, it's quite realistic in some senses, but it's a bit weird in some other senses. So for now, it's just basically you're trying to find the dry patches on the track. You don't really want to be braking on the rubber line as well, so the biggest thing I've been seeing in the public races, I guess yesterday, were that people were still trying to brake, drive, and just be on the dry line. Which for some cars this maybe would work, but for the Super Formula Lights at Spa, you kind of want to avoid the dry line at all costs because there's no grip compared to braking off the line. So you see here, I brake off the line, I drive completely off the line, I cut back across. And keep in mind this is on cold tires, so the tires aren't fully warmed up yet, but you'll see here, I'm not really hitting any of the traditional apexes at any corners. I'm not really braking on the dry line. I'm braking where I feel it is driest and just not on the rubber line, because the rubber line in, I guess, real life and in sim, it's just more slippery. I don't know the exact physics behind it, but there's less grip on the rubber line. So you gotta do whatever you do to, like, the high speed corners here, you want to use the arrow of this car. You want to go around the outside where there's no rubber, so you have a small bit of grip, but you see it is still very loose, because you're crossing over the dry line into the wet line, which is a bit hard to get used to at first. But see here, braking fully on the inside, go around to the outside, looking for grip, and cut back across the racing line, have a quick snap as I cross the dry line. And as you see, it's like every time you're on the dry line, you have like a significantly less amount of grip. So see here, it's like, on cold tires it is very tricky, but you just gotta look for the grip and get the tires warmed up. So here I'll kind of leave you guys with a non-commentated lap first, and then after this there will be a commentated lap of what I'm doing and my mindset behind it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy. As you can see here, I'm going into my second hot lap. I of course brake a bit too late because in these conditions you're always on the limit. You're trying to push over the limit to find where the grip is. As I go into my, I guess, second flying lap, so the tires are heated up at this point, everything's feeling good, I'm comfortable with the track, I know where the rain is. So into T1, I brake just after the 100 meters on the full inside and I cut over very early into it. And instead of drifting wide traditionally, I go over to the inside where it's a bit drier and not on the rubber line. This helps me get better traction and a better launch out of the corner and just be more stable. Okay, going through Radion Rouge, I brake off the line. I try and carry as much speed as possible covering over the river and the dry line. There it's just about confidence and really just trusting that the car will grip up after you go through the dry line in the puddle. But once you build up that confidence, you can gain so much more time in this. So going to T5, I brake roughly 50 meters on the inside. I cut across maybe the middle where my left tire's on the wet line. Then I'm completely off the typical dry line, just taking the outsides and kind of cutting across the dry line. Here I basically brake again on the full inside, drift out wide, just use this drier part of the circuit, not rubbered in part of the circuit. Try and get them throttle as quickly as possible. Here, no name brake on the dry line, but just go wider to get the dry patch on the outside. Going on to P1, you want to use the arrow and just basically brake on the dry line, drift out wide, then kind of cut across the dry line. It's a bit snappy, but it's usual. Then just try and carry the most amount of speed possible, just so you really use the arrow that's in this car. So here, going into it, brake late on the full inside, drift out wide, cut across the dry line, then still keep it on the outside. You can see every single time I touch the dry patch, the car just snaps just because of lack of grip. Here, brake on dry line, drift a bit wide. This little drier part of the surface has a little bit less rubber. And here, again, just carrying the speed around the outside. Here, there's a bit of standing water, so you want to be a bit careful. Just really just using the wet line to its maximum advantage. Here on the straight, just driving in all the dry spots as well, because with the standing water, you are hydroplaning a tiny bit, which will in return lose you a tiny bit of speed going the straights. Here, just again, full outside, just being off the dry line, just grippier with the rain tires. Okay, here braking just after the 100, fully on the inside, cut across the dry line, then just go completely outside just for the grip, and just cut across back into the dry line. And then, yeah, that was a lap around Spa. It was a 2:29.7. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, just leave them down in the comments. I'll read them and try and get back to them. But as you can see here, I was using the baseline wet setup. At first, I kind of changed the brake bias down to the 53, but then I just kind of went back to the 54 standard brake bias. If you guys do want to recreate the session, I'm pretty sure I just had it on the light rain and realistic weather, so it should be quite easy to recreate. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully see you in the next one.